now on Grid Tonight. BMW and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing are parting ways at the end of the 2025 season. What's next for BMW's GTP program? Aaron McLaren has chosen Linus Lundqvist as their backup driver in case Nolan Siegel isn't cleared to race in Toronto. Could this put Lundqvist's name back on the IndyCar map? We've been talking about him all week on our show. Shane Van Gisbergen picked up his third consecutive road course win in the NASCAR Cup Series. Can he reach Jeff Gordon's record of 6 in a row on road courses? Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambert, and with me are Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. We encourage everyone to interact with us in the chat, support us through Super Chat, and visit gridnetworktv.com for our latest content. Now here's Josh with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Good evening to you. Good evening, Matt. And, every time you introduce us, I always feel like we're on blankety blank with Cilla Black. Now, I realise the Americans have got no idea what I'm talking about. But Cilla Black was a very lovely singer, TV host and personality in the UK as well. But I feel like that. I never know what to do. Do I smile? Do I wave?
Who's Al Graham? In that case, we need an Al. He's Al Graham. That's an absolute very reference for the UK viewers.
We need a Graham. Don't worry, we need a Paul O'Grady as well, really, thinking about it as well. They'd be terrible, John. So, if anyone did have a heart, let's get into the rest of the show for this evening as well. She was very famous with the Beatles as well, actually. If you don't know, Google her. So, in a story first was reported by Marsha Pruitt from Racer.com, BMW and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing will part ways at the end of the 2025 IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship season. Now, the partnership between the German manufacturer and RLL began in 2009, and now both sides will head in different directions moving forward. Team co-owner Bobby Rahal told Racer.com that he was obviously disappointed about the split and called it an honour and a privilege to represent BMW. Now, Rahal added that RLL have been in talks with several manufacturers about staying in IMSA, but there could be options to run an LMP2 program, start up an Indy next, or the most surprising possibility mentioned was starting a team up in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Now, on the other hand, John DeGasse as well from SportsCar 365 got an official statement from BMW confirming the end of their partnership. He also reported that rumours suggest that Team WRT, who runs BMW's hypercar class team, might run the IMSA program as well in what could become a Michelin Endurance Cup only program. Now, the links to both these articles are in the video description below, and photo courtesy of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Well, me and Matt know WRT well, of course, with them running the British Touring Car Championship, one of BMW here in the UK as well. Let me tell you something, they're a secretive bunch as well. And trying to get any information out of them is very, very difficult. So, Kobe, starting with you, do you think the split between BMW and RLL was the best move for both sides? And how would you feel about Team WRT taking over the IMSA program?
Well, I'll start off talking about RLL and BMW before getting into Team WRT, which is a highly respected sports car racing team, in Europe and all over the world. But yeah, RLL and BMW have been together for many years now. I remember when they were running together in the then American Le Mans series, and then they were in the GTLM class, transition into, when it transitioned to GTD Pro and all of that. And then they got into prototype racing. I thought RLL, has been a good partner for them, but I think it's no secret that BMW have obviously wanted more in them. So they've wanted to be more competitive. They've wanted to win more races, and they wanted to, obviously compete for a championship more often than not. But, unfortunately, they just haven't gotten that with RLL. And like you're saying, Josh, we don't really know what the future is for this IMSA BMW GTP program. We don't know if it's going to be a Michelin Endurance Cup program only, or if they're going to stay on with the full season and try to get another team such as WRT to run a full season program. But I think BMW and RLL, all their years together, they have a lot to be proud of or what they've accomplished. Like I said, I'm sure they would have loved to have accomplished more, but maybe that BMW feels that the best thing to do is to move on from them because they can get another team in there, and maybe it'll go much better. with another team such as WRT. And I know that in the past they've talked about wanting to expand their racing programs around the world. We haven't seen them in IMSA yet, but I think it would be really cool, whether it's for a full season or the Michelin Endurance Cup program. I think they'll do the best that they can to extract as much as they can out of these GTP cars to see if they can try to do more than what RLL was able to do with them. But strictly, from a numbers perspective, it will be disappointing to see it only become an endurance program only, because, when you look at the IMSA GTP class and the World Endurance Championships hypercar class is absolutely booming. IMSA is still doing relatively well, but but I'll be honest, as a stateside viewer here, with IMSA being our main sports car championship, kind of disappointing to see what WEC is doing, because I look over there and I get kind of jealous, because I'm like, well, I wish we could have, the number of prototypes in our class like they have over there. Maybe IMSA will get there at some point, but yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what BMW is going to do next in GTP.
Yeah, a proper good evening to everyone. It's a shame, isn't it? As you say, Kobe, we've talked about the hypercar class, especially in the WEC, a lot on this show this year, with Ford coming and Genesis and McLaren obviously was announced properly at Le Mans last month. It was always the thought in the back of my mind that someone would need to be the one that got pushed/bundled out of the door at some stage, and it looks like the BMW USA project is the first sort of domino to fall out of bed, which is a real shame, because, as you documented, Josh, RLL have been stalwarts of that paddock for a very long time, through the back end of the American Le Mans Series days with the GT car, and then progressing into the prototype categories. So it's a real shame for Bobby and everyone involved there that this has happened. Be interesting to see what they do next. As you mentioned, the trucks, NXT or Indy Next, perhaps on the horizon for them, which will be cool for them to go and do something different, because we know how good a racing team they are. It's not been brilliantly successful in the top end of IndyCar for a while, but this BMW has shown real pace. I mean, Dries Van Voort was rolling off the poles at the beginning of the season in IMSA like they were going out of fashion. It hasn't really happened for them in the races, while perhaps the other German manufacturer has been taking all the headlines at Porsche just down the street there with Team Penske. So real shame. What will they do next? We'll wait and see. If WRT do pick it up, at least as that Michelin Endurance Cup program, which has been mooted, that'd be good to see them still on the grid for the big races, Daytona, Watkins Glen, Petit Le Mans, Sebring, that kind of thing. So at least we'll still have BMWs in the top class at the big races. Obviously, they'll still be represented in the GTD class with Paul Miller and with Turner and others running the M4. But shame that of all the massively brilliant, great news, look at hypercar, it's flying along, going great guns. One of them perhaps on the downslide. Perhaps you would have suspected it might have been Peugeot that were first to go, because they've not been having such a great time in the WEC, and they've already pulled out once, that it would be them. But looks like perhaps, as I say, the domino has started to teeter on the BMW project.
Yeah, and already we're seeing a couple of signs, in the touring car paddock about BMW. There was a few little interesting nods at Alton Park with the bad season they're having there as well. As it seems to be a knock-on effect around the whole company. Of course, WRT not directly with the touring cars, because they're run by West Surrey Racing, but WRT are in control with BMW for the car manufacturer side of things as well, that they provide to the factory team run by Dick Bennett as well over there. So there's definitely a knock-on effect, and I was suspecting, I think we've talked about it before, about BMW probably pulling out of a couple of series to focus on other parts. I thought the touring cars would be one. I didn't expect IMSA to be one, so I hope that they stay full-time with WRT taking over as well. Let's just see how that one works out. I do have one thing, though. If they do to go RLL to the truck series, don't put Graham in the car. I would really have a problem with that. I really would, because it's not the place to put elder drivers. I mean, Trucks has got a couple of them, but
we saw Marco struggle in the truck. Yeah. When he tried that out, and I think they interviewed him, I forgot who did. Someone interviewed Marco Andretti earlier this year, and they said, "How's your NASCAR adventure coming along?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm done with that." So like we've seen in the past with some of these open wheel stars, try to come over, and the transition, it's just extremely difficult compared to what they're used to. We've seen this time and time again, where you see
Helio.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Elio Castroneves as well, and there's also another long list of drivers who have tried that and haven't completely worked out. I know Marco's equipment wasn't really the best during his time in stock car racing, but it was just unfortunate. But hey, at least he got to try something new, right? I mean, his performance in the SRX series gave him the confidence that he could potentially be good at this, and he tried it, and it just wasn't meant to be.
I've always said, does it go on?
Talking about IndyCar drivers going truck racing, Conor Daly's done all right in his sporadic appearances that he's made over the last couple of years down there. So not all bad for the IndyCar drivers.
I'd say that Daly's got a little bit more experience as well through a couple of other cup cars he's done over the years. So it's sort of I don't know. Mario's. I don't think he's done much, has he? Outside of single seaters.
No.
Certainly, it's not like
a quick roll an A1GP reference in when we talk about Marco Andretti and single seaters.
I knew you'd go with this. Go on.
Had to be done. Adam says Jack Villeneuve running NASCAR and didn't have much success. No, he didn't, Adam, apart from when he was bowling people out the way in Xfinity races at Montreal in the 22 Penske car over those couple of years that he ran that race.
Yeah, and then he got into it with Danica at Road America. Remember that?
He did. Yeah.
Kobe's just done a Danica reference. I must be slipping as well. No, I'm very surprised you let WSR go as well, considering they had, what was it? They had Singapore, America, and New Zealand in A1GP.
Yeah, they did.
You let that one go. Yeah.
As
well.
Can't do it all. We'll have to do a special A1GP grid tonight at some stage.
Yes, we would, especially. We're past the 20th anniversary as well. Maybe we'll do one 20th anniversary when they ended. So that's 2010. We've got 5 more years. Was it 2009? Yeah, when did it end?
9. Yeah, 9.
9. Yeah. God, it was confusing to work out. I still miss it to this day. So I want to clean off. Let's shift gears to IndyCar on a full-time thing now, because on last Sunday's episode of Grid Tonight, we covered Nolan Siegel's suffering a mild concussion after crashing in race 1 at Iowa Speedway. Now, Aaron McLaren ruled him out for race 2 and said that he would be re-evaluated tomorrow to determine if he can be declared fit to race on the streets of Toronto this weekend. Now, as a result, the team will have Linus Lundqvist serve as their reserve driver in case Siegel needs additional time to recover from his concussion. Now, the 2022 Indy Next champion competed IndyCar full-time last year with Chip Ganassi Racing, scoring a point at Road America and 2 podiums at Barber and Gateway before losing his seat after Ganassi was forced to downsize after charters were introduced. And the photo taken by Travis Hinkle from Penske Entertainment. So, Matt, back to you on this one. It's a simple enough question. Is Lundqvist good choice to replace Siegel if needed?
I think he's probably the best sort of free agent choice that's out there that has prior track and IndyCar experience. So it's a good pickup. He'll be there ready to go if needs be. Obviously, we hope for the best for Nolan and that he can be in the car and he's all okay for the weekend coming up. This IndyCar season, which is rapidly smashing its way towards the end of the season. All of a sudden, we've only got a few races left. So that's let's hope for some positive Nolan news. He's got to go through the concussion protocol. And a quick plug, if you don't follow Scott McLaughlin's YouTube page, his post-Indianapolis video, and we all know what happened to Scotty at the Indy 500, after he had his crash in practice, he, as part of that vlog, he did the walkthrough of what they have to do for the concussion test. So if you want to get a bit more up to speed of what the concussion test is all about, check that out, because Scotty has to do his post his practice crash, and they film it all, and it's all in the vlog. So that's cool. So Nolan will have to go through that at the weekend. Again, Tony Kanani, he got ready, didn't he, at the weekend? He perhaps was ready to go and then got moved aside, much like he did at the 500 with the Kyle Larson situation. So maybe it might be third time lucky for TK, perhaps next week if Linus isn't available and Nolan isn't back. But say probably the best option that they had. They know him. He knows them. He knows the car. He knows the track, etc., etc. So let's hope if Linus does get in that he has a decent run, because McLaren, that car especially needs it. And obviously we hope for a speedy recovery for Nolan Siegel.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Linus Lundqvist was definitely one of the best options available at this given time. And if you watch the wrap-up show on Sunday, I was actually beating the drums for Théo Pourchaire, because while I understand that McLaren and Théo Pourchaire, did not end on the best terms. Remember what happened a year ago? Théo Pourchaire, it was like on a Friday night, and Théo Pourchaire was in Europe. And then he gets the call from Tony Kanaan late at night saying, "Hey, Teo, we need you to get your stuff and get ready to come to Toronto," because I believe Alexander Rossi suffered an injury to his hand or his wrist there. And then they needed a driver. And so Teo was really the only one who was available. So despite, the ugly legal stuff that they got into, Teo remained professional, and he got on a red-eye flight from Europe to Toronto. I remember him arriving at the track just right before it was either FP2 or qualifying, and he jumped right in without, any preparation of the track, or without, got no sim time. And it was his very first time seeing the track. And so it was quite a situation. And so I thought that maybe they would call on Théo Pourchaire to do it again, especially since he has Simon Pagenaud serving as his mentor to try to help him get back into the IndyCar series and try to do it full time this time around. But I saw a report floating around, about Théo Pourchaire over the weekend, and I can imagine it would be really stressful for him to try to do something like this, because he is Peugeot's test development / reserve driver in the World Endurance Championship, and saw a Formula E media outlet report that Teo was actually in Sao Paulo on Sunday, and then he had to fly overnight from Brazil to Berlin, where he participated in the rookie test or whatever they were doing there. So that would have been quite a bit of travel for Teo to go from Sao Paulo to Berlin, then right into Indianapolis, then to Toronto. So maybe it just wasn't feasible for Teo. We're not sure, and we probably never will know if he was even on their list at this point. But going back to Linus Lundqvist, I think he's certainly the next best option if you don't consider Porsche. As you mentioned, Josh, Lundqvist did really well in his rookie season last year. Got a pole at Road America, then 2 podiums, Barber and Gateway, and then also had some other good results as well. I thought, after he won in the next championship, didn't have to sit on the sidelines for nearly the whole year before he got some opportunities, with Meyer Shank. Towards the end of 2023, and then 24 got the full-time seat. And unfortunately, with IndyCar's charter system coming into place, lost his full-time ride. But Linus has been reported that he's been attending most, if not all, of the IndyCar races, fit, ready to go in case someone needs a replacement driver, because he wants to be in this series full-time again. And I think he's a talent who deserves this. Unfortunately, the funding's never really been there for Linus, but I think that this opportunity in Toronto, if Nolan Siegel is not cleared, I think it could be a great opportunity for Linus Lundqvist to put his name back on the map.
Yeah, Théo Pourchaire was in Berlin on Monday for the rookies test in Formula E. I've got the times. I was covering it. I'll quickly run through it. Gabriel Mini was fastest from Gouven as well, who's done a lot of Porsche Super Cup running as well. Kushmani, Crawford, for you American fans, was in 4th. Callum Vosin was 5th. Alexander Dunn in 6th. Hugh Barter 7th. Excuse me. Frederick Vesti 8th. Alexander Gusti in 9th. Then Théo Pourchaire was in 10th. You might have heard this guy as well. He's a great up-and-coming rookie. Danny Kvyat in 11th overall. Then Dino Boganovic in 12th. Arthur Leclerc 13th. Nikita Bedrin 14th. Leonardo Fuller in 15th. Zach O'Sullivan 16th. And then I think this was really good to see as well. Abby Pulling 17th. Ella Lloyd 18th. Jamie Chadwick 19th in her run with Jaguar. Then it's LOS in 20th. Jonathan Hoggard in 21st. And not really surprising to me, but I don't know how to put it. Bianca Bustamante, 22nd. 2/10 off the pace of Jonathan Hoggard, but 1.5 seconds down on Gabriel Mini. I still don't know how Bianca's got to drive in motor racing. But yeah, she's shown flashes of greatness, but not exactly what we need with female talent at the top of motorsport. That I would still assume would be the likes of Abby Pulling as well, Jamie Chadwick going in there as well. Yeah, but anyway, there were the results as coming through. But yeah, Pourchaire was in 10th and actually flying over as well from a race in Italy. I think, was Hoggard, who had a race in Formula 4, so had to fly over and missed the second race of the weekend from Italian F4. So it's been a bit of a wild week in motorsport. But yeah, just quickly, Danny Kvyat, a rookie. I must have blinked and gone back 15 odd years. That was, yeah.
Josh, I actually have a question for you right quick. I know you mentioned some of the female drivers who participated in this rookie session in Berlin. No, we haven't had a women in motorsports program in a while, so I just wanted to ask you, like, what do you think the chances are that we're going to see a female driver full-time in Formula E, like within maybe not next season, but the season after that? I know Abby Pullen, is really progressing through the system. We talked about the news a few weeks ago on this show that Abby Pulling, was going to be working with the Nissan Formula E team. We know Nissan is, doing really, really well right now in Formula E. So that would be a really good place for her if she's able to get a position there. Jamie Chatwood, she was in Indy Next, and then she went to sports car. Now she's, did the test in Formula E. Not sure what her future is going to hold. So, like, overall, what's your take on the possibility of seeing a female race in Formula E?
It was really annoying to begin with, because this test happened on Monday in perfectly dry conditions, and what they wanted to do was use the test to analyze what the times would be like for the drivers of the regular cars compared to the rookies. Unfortunately, they couldn't do that. We only had 2 practice sessions over the weekend, and both were affected by rain as well, because the second session on Saturday morning got cancelled, Sunday morning it was raining, and Friday it was also wet as well. So we had no actual full-on top-speed data lap times to compare it to. But from what the teams have had a feedback with, Abby was the star of the test. She was right up there. She was used to the car. She's already driven earlier on this year in the women's test in Harama. And I would say out of any of the drivers, she's the one who could probably go in and be a full-time driver. I do know it is Formula E's aim to have female drivers again, because, of course, when they started, they had 2. One of them was Simona Di Silvestro, the other has escaped. Well, Catherine Legg was the other. Yeah, so they have been in the sport, but then they got sort of pulled out quite quickly. And it just, the natural thing happened in motorsport where, oh, well, we'll just sign, the young guy, he can do it. And so, and for a long time, the women were overlooked in esports, in Formula E. And it annoyed me because it's sort of the perfect go-between. They are introducing a lot more. I don't think we'll have women in Formula E as full-time drivers until Gen 4. And I say that because Gen 4 is going to be a whole new era of the sport. Power steering, faster, more reliable, new tyres. It's logical to then get women in. Not now at the end of Gen 3 when they don't have power steering, when the cars are still very much set up for the men, and it's not equal at the moment. But Abby and especially Alice Powell as well, who's in Vision, hell of a job to show us why they should be in Formula E. But I think it'd be Gen 4.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think Chadwick's probably got her set now on full-time endurance racing. You would have thought, especially if she gets picked up by Genesis, which is highly rumoured the way she's been going in the ELMS this season. But, we know how well the Formula E drivers are paid, and people want to be paid to go motor racing rather than bringing money. And it would be a great spot for someone like an Abby Pulling to land if the Formula 3-2-1 ladder doesn't materialise, which, let's be honest, at this moment in time, in the next little while, I don't think we're going to see a female driver climb that ladder. But Formula E would be a great landing spot for someone like Abby Pulling. And of course, she was in the champion's car on Monday as well in the Nissan, so she had some good equipment underneath her.
Okay, so I think we've got now some breaking news coming through. I've just been hearing. So for this, I'm going to have to hand it back to Kobe, unless you put it in the script somewhere, mate. I can't find it.
It's in the private chat, Josh.
Okay, here we go. Oh, I have it. I'm sorry. I'm having to go around between 2 different screens here, so bear with me. So this is breaking news. This is coming in from Bob Potcrass. According to NASCAR's filing today, both the 2311 and FRM have completed the paperwork to race as open teams at Dover and Indianapolis. So just to repeat that if you're coming in late, according to the NASCAR's filing today, both 2311 and FRM have completed the paperwork to race as open teams at Dover and Indianapolis. Okay, Matt, I'll come to you then on this one. And, open teams. This is going to be a bit of a shocker, isn't it? We didn't see this one coming from the overall wins.
Well, did we or didn't we? This has been rumbling along since the start of the season, really, in the background of the NASCAR paddock about this 2311 and FRM stuff. And we were hoping we were going to get some kind of resolution on it today, and it's come late in the day. Another tweet from Bob Pockris says, NASCAR filed response to the 2311 FRM motion on charters. Judge Niemeyer said at oral argument, plaintiffs asked to have their cake and eat it too. That is exactly what plaintiffs asked for again in this TRO, an injunction that gives them charter rights on their preferred terms. So, as I suspected the whole time of this, NASCAR have said, it's our ball. If you want to go and play with your own ball, go and play with your own ball over there. And shockingly, if you were looking at this from the outside, NASCAR looked like they may have got their way, which is absolutely, which is not my international surprised face on this one. But if you have heard other things rumbling in the background, if this continues to roll on, Tyler Reddick instantly becomes a free agent at 2311.
Oh.
I am going to roll the ball here that he will be in the 48 car. If this carries on and they have to run, they're non-chartered next season, Tyler Reddick will not be in that car and he will be at Hendrick Motorsport in the 48. I'm going to roll it out now. You can timestamp this. 12 minutes past 11 on the 16th of July. I said it. We'll see what happens with that one.
I agree. I don't think Bowman will be in it. That's for sure after the last couple of weeks. Okay, so that's coming in. Breaking news. We'll bring you up to date with any more information.
As Joe says, nothing official, but they have done their paperwork to be the open teams for the next 2 weeks, which of course covers the end of the in-season bracket, which we perhaps will talk about in a little while in Hots and Knots too.
I hope it's a knot. Just trying to have a look. I'm trying to have a look on the media login as well, so I'll probably try and find that out as well if there's anything that's come through from NASCAR on things like that. But as we will continue on, I think we're going to circle back to this quite a bit in today in the show as well. So let's move on to, comically enough, NASCAR, because there's one name we've been talking about all week long in our shows, and that is Shane Van Gisbergen. For the third time this year, he won his third NASCAR Cup Series race, all of them being on road courses in Mexico City, Chicago, and Sonoma. Now, SVG joins an elite group of drivers who've won at least 3 road course races in a row in the Cup Series. The only other drivers to do so were David Pearson, Tim Richmond, and Rusty Wallace, Tony Stewart, Dan Gurney, Chase Elliott, and of course the last one, Jeff Gordon. The most road course race wins we've seen by a Cup driver is 6 in a row by Gordon from Watkins Glen in 1997 through to Sonoma in 2000. Now, for many years, NASCAR only raced at Sonoma and Watkins Glen. They also had Riverside until it went away forever. We still miss it. Now, several years ago, we got up to 3 road courses with the addition of the Charlotte Roval. Now we're up to 6 road courses, with rumours of potentially adding a 7th in 2026. So there will be plenty of opportunities for SVG to stack up more road course victories. And he's halfway to Gordon's record while he continues to improve on the ovals. The photo taken by Chris Grantham from Getty Images. I want to say it right now, Matt. He absolutely deserves to be in the playoffs because he's won races as a full-time driver in the regular season. That, I think we have to just end it right there.
Yeah, we said this last week.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. People say, but he's only winning on the road courses. Yeah, but they're in the regular season and he's a full-time driver. It's like, what do you want? Logano won, 3 races last year and they were the 3 he needed to win. Play the game. Do it. So, a different type of question. Do you think it's possible that we could see SVG tie Gordon's record of 6 consecutive road course wins or potentially break it with a 7th in a row?
I mean, the way he's going at the moment, you would have to say it's unlikely that anyone's going to stop him. Another dominant display on Sunday at Sonoma. where he really wasn't challenged by anybody. I feel like if Chase Briscoe hadn't already won this season, he may have roughed him up more than he was able to on one of those late restarts, or attempted to, or tried to, or whatever, because he didn't really give him a good run in terms. He raced him clean and fairly, which is what we love to see as a purist. But he didn't get the job done in terms of beating him. Perhaps if we hadn't had all those late cautions, Chase Elliott would have got there on the fresh tyres. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I said this in a private chat earlier in the week. It didn't go well for him at Kota back in the spring. Had a bit of an off day there. Then we went to Mexico, where no one had seen that racetrack before. A couple of people, but it was slightly different layout from when they were back in the mid-2000s. And he blew everyone's doors off, especially in stage 3, and drove away to a dominant victory. This week at Sonoma, of course, we had Chicago as well in there, where, of course, he's now won 4 of the 5 races he's entered. And the other one, he was in contention before being knocked out of it late in the going last year in the wet conditions. And then like this week at Sonoma, where he hadn't been in a cup car and he won. So, yeah, what have we got next? Watkins Glen next in a few weeks' time. Was beaten in the late laps, or on the last lap, wasn't it, last year by Chris Buescher when that race was in the playoffs. So now it's back to its regular August slot. I mean, yeah, he's going to be absolutely public enemy number 1 again at that racetrack that weekend in terms of his speed. Everyone will be trying to catch him. That will put him, if he wins, and in the next couple of weeks, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Larson don't win, Shane Van Gisbergen will be the playoff number 1 seed coming out of Watkins Glen if he wins that race. What? But you know, who's there to stop him? They really haven't held a glove to him. I don't think on Sunday at Sonoma he was going full chat. He was pacing himself throughout that full race. We haven't seen him be pushed or had to be pushed by anybody this season, especially in these last few weeks, especially at Mexico, where he just disappeared in that final run to the green flag, 17 seconds or whatever it was. His average running position on these road courses is just something silly, 4.6 or something crazy, against everyone else that's like 15 or more. It's just ridiculous in a good way. As I said to a couple of people earlier in this week, it's getting quite tiresome having to defend my driver for being successful, because everyone's out to get him at the moment. But he's been put in that, as I said on the show last week, he's been given a job to do and he's doing it, hitting all of his KPIs. So more power to the elbow and to the right boot, so he can kick more rugby balls into the crowds of SVG. But yeah, going to be interesting to see if he can carry this streak on, because we've got Watkins and then the Roval at the end of the season. So if he wins both of them, they're tracks he hasn't won at before, and he goes back to Kota next spring, because I guess Kota's going to be early in the season again next year, then he's swept all of them. He's won everywhere. None of the other road course ringers have ever done that. None of the road course ringers have ever done anything in particular. Stuart Gordon, full-timers, were winning races. Martin Truex Jr. latterly. Kyle Busch has picked up a couple of wins. So has Kyle Larson. But none of the ringers that have ever come in have done this well. So, yeah, more power to the elbow of SVG.
Just trying to have a look as well at the full season chat so far with what we've had and who's won. So, well, not counting the cookout or the duels, counting actual seasons. So, Bell has won 3. Hamlin's won 3. Last won 3. SVG's won 3. So they're at the top. But yeah, as things stand in the regular points, Byron leads it on 668 with Chase Elliott on 654. So it's so confusing at the moment as to how you try and work it out. But you're right, SVG, if he wins, which, looking at the schedule, we've got Watkins Glen coming up on round 24. Yeah. On August 10th. So if he wins that one, he will enter the playoffs at the top.
Unless Bell, Larson or Hamlin win again between now and Daytona, and SVG does win at Watkins Glen, he'll go in as the number 1 seed.
Yeah, because I think well, looking at it, we've got Indianapolis. You can count Larson in there, can't you? He won last year.
And SVG
So
was decent in Indianapolis in the Xfinity race last year.
he was, yeah. So he could do it there. He could run on an oval. It's a type of oval that I think would benefit him more because it's only 9 degree of banking. It's one of the least we go to, which is ironic enough, really. But yeah, so we could win at Indianapolis. I don't think anybody's going to win at Iowa. In terms of a regular winner, that's more of a. If anything, that's more of a Keselowski feel to me. It's his type of short track racing. Watkins Glen, shoe-in, as we know. Richmond, Cookout 400, Daytona is anybody's guess, as Burton proved last year. So I reckon we could see him go in as the top driver. And then if you look at the round of 16, you get in to Roval territory, where he could easily lock himself into the round of 8. And then you've got Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville.
I mean, in stage 2 on Sunday, he was leading, pitted, came out second, and then raced Kyle Larson down to win the stage. So he weren't expecting him to win that second stage, and he picked up a playoff point by winning the stage. So he's padding his playoff points now to go through. I want to quickly pick up on a message that Mike Joy, we all love and respect Mike Joy, but he's wrong on this, put on Twitter on whatever day it was. Off the back of a conversation, is SVG the best road course ringer of all time? He said, not yet. Dan Gurney had 5 wins in 9 starts at Riverside. Shane's won at Mexico. He's won at Chicago, and he's won at Sonoma. That's 3 out of against Dan's 5 wins at one track.
Yeah,
he's going. If he's not there now, and I think he already is. If he does, pad this as to the end of the season, I don't think the question should have another answer.
That's kind of like saying, is Lewis Hamilton the greatest of all time purely on saying because he's won 9 times at Silverstone? Yeah.
Or like, Budapest, which is coming up in a couple of weeks' time, where he's also been really good.
Yeah, it's like, you really want to compare it to that? I mean, first of all, Lewis is a great driver, but I don't think he's the greatest of all time. To me, I still would consider Jimmy Clark and Sir Sterling Moss, because they didn't just race Formula One; they raced everything. I think Jimmy Clark is very high on my list as possibly number 1 of all time because of the amount of racing he did in 4 years. What was it? In the space of 4 years, he did about 360 races, something like that. It was insane. And he got Grand Slam after Grand Slam. Sterling did the same, and they're 2 very high up the list. And I've yet to go. People have always said, would you ever do a top 10? I would probably try and do a top 10 of greatest drivers of all time, but I think I'd have to do it on, this is Formula One, this is MotoGP, this is touring cars, because there's so many to just go and throw in as your top 10 of all time. But yeah,
Grid Network off-season content, that we should really make a play for that over the Christmas period at the end of the year.
If you never watched a race from Riverside,
go for it. That track was incredible. I've got them in my list of things. We were talking pre-show about my list of things to watch. I've got another playlist that's got 300 races in it, and a couple of them are from Riverside.
Matthew Owens actually suggested me watching Riverside races to get as part of my introduction to getting into NASCAR last year as a commentator. So he actually gave me some good stats coming into it as well. SVG can catch Jeff Gordon's record. Will he break it? We shall see. I think he will. I think he's coming.
Yeah, he's what are we saying? He's won 3 this year, couple last year. We're gonna, as you said, perhaps have maybe even 7 road course races in the calendar next year. He'll probably win 3 or 4 of them. Just you didn't just go, oh, he's going to win there. So yeah, I think that record is going to go.
Final thing before I hand to you, would it be? If NASCAR did this, would it be seen as favoritism if we've got 3 races, round of 16, round of 12, round of 8, a road course in each of those? That's a bit more fair, isn't it?
The fan backlash would not be ideal. There's still a lot of people that don't like the Roval, and there's still a lot of people that don't like that we had 2 last year, because we had Watkins Glen as well in the playoffs last year, which has now gone back out again. A lot of talk about perhaps the Roval going away and them going back to having the oval as a 400 miler at Charlotte, back to how it used to be. I kind of like the Roval. It's
I like
produced
the
some
Roval's
drama
unique.
and some good moments over the years. And it just, it's another of those curveball races in the playoffs. If it's the, well, we don't like these curveball races in the playoffs because it screws everything up, well, then take Talladega out too.
Yeah, because that's confusing as anything.
Yeah.
And don't make Daytona the last of the regular season, because that race is a lottery.
As we saw with Harrison Burton squeaking his way in last year. But don't forget the week before Austin Dillon won at Richmond, so it can happen anywhere.
Yeah. I still think Atlanta's got good again. I think Atlanta's sort of, it's surprising me how good that track has become. I think it's the only one that's been changed that you go, yeah, that kind of works. It's the only one, isn't it? I can't think of another one. Okay, that's enough chatter from us tonight as well. Let's hand over to Matt for the latest in the Grid EPI update.
Thank you, Josh. Another busy weekend of Grid Endurance Performance Index racing. We're now 83 races into our 156 race season coming out of this weekend. Here is what happened to whom and where. And we'll start at the Nürburgring this week, where the ADAC GT Masters were in action in support of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The FAC Autotech Porsche, there it is on screen. The number 4 car won the Saturday race with Alex Fack and Alex Schwarzer at the wheel. The Haupt Racing team got the win on Sunday with their Mustang, Salman of Vega and Finn Wiebelhaus in the number 1 car, the winners in the Sunday race for Ford and for Haupt Racing team. A bit closer to home for me and you, Josh. At Snetterton at the weekend, we had the ladies round of the British GT Championship, 2 sprint races on Sunday and 2 wins for both the 2Cs Motorsport cars. Charles Dawson and Kian Jewis getting their second win of the season in race 1, and their teammates Kevin C and Maxi Gertz winning the second race of the afternoon in Norfolk. Fuji at the weekend, 2 races for the GT World Challenge Asia Championship. Those 2 cars on screen were the winners of both the races. The Porsche, the 87 car for Origin Motorsport with Yang Bo and Hong Li Yi was the winner on Saturday. And that result was reversed on Sunday with Ben Green and Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim winning for the Johor Motorsports team with their Corvette on Sunday. Up in Canada at the weekend, we have the ladies round of IMSA LMP2, the highlight of the headliners. And for a second week in a row, AO Motorsport got a victory. They won last week in the ELMS in the Pro-Am category at Imola with Rexy. And they got a win at CTMP on Sunday with PJ Hyatt and Dane Cameron steering the 99 to the win in LMP2. GTD Pro was won by Dragon Speed with their Ferrari, Albert Costa and Giacomo Altoe getting the victory there. And in GTD, WRT were the victors, their first win in the class for Trent Hinman and Danny Formal with their Lamborghini. And we've left the big one till last because it's affected the points, which we'll come to shortly. A massive result for Hertz Team Jota at the weekend at Interlagos, a 1-2 for the caddies. Alex Lynn, Norman Nato and Will Stevens coming home on top in the 12 car, beating home the number 38 of Jenson Button, Sebastian Bourdais and Earl Bamber for a 1-2 for the Hertz Team Jota Cadillac team. So congratulations to them. And in GT3, it was a win for Lexus. Petru Ambarescu, Jose Maria Lopez and Clement Schmidt, the winners in that car on screen. Now, let's have a look at the point standings because we have had a big shuffle. Antonio Giovinazzi was the leader last week. His Ferrari did not score a top 10 result, so he has slid from the top down to 6th, and that has opened the door for last year's Super GT champions and this year's current championship leaders, Kenta Yamashita and Shota Tsubai, to skip their way up to the table of 1 and 2, or joint first, whatever you like, ahead of Ollie Gray, who's the European Le Mans Series championship leader at the moment. Former championship leaders there, 4th, 5th and 6th, Felipe Nasr and Nick Tandy and Antonio Giovinazzi. They round out the top 6. A couple of the Belgian mafia there with Lawrence Van Voor and Charles Weert, Esteban Masson and Chris Lullen round out the top 10. So our third different leading combination of such for the Grid EPI through 16 weeks. That's how the top 50 winds out coming out of this week 16. Week 17 will feature 4 races and they're all GT World Challenge affiliated. The USA Championship is at VIR over the weekend for 2 sprint races. And the GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup is in Italy at Misano at the weekend as well. So that will affect a couple of people towards the top of the championship in the EPI, notably Chris Lollam, who is 10th there in the standings from the gold category in the GT World Challenge Europe section. We'll tell you who won and who did what in those races and give you a points update on the show next week in the normal slot here in the Grid EPI for week number 17. Now let's hand over to Kobe. He's got more of the headlines from the week.
Thanks, Matt. Time for some more motorsports news from around the world, or in this case, from the United States. Jake Finch is set to make his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut this weekend at Dover Motor Speedway. Finch will drive the number 17 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet with sponsorship from HendrickCars.com. In the last few years, Finch has competed in the ARCA Menard Series, making a handful of starts with Venturini Motorsports and won last year's ARCA race at Talladega. A couple of years ago, he won an ARCA East race at Dover, so this is an ideal track for his first Xfinity race. Finch joins a stacked list of drivers who've been a part of the Hendrick Xfinity program, which includes all 4 of their Cup Series drivers and development driver Corey Day, photo courtesy of ARCA. And for the first time since 2023, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regular Roger Carruth will return to the Xfinity Series this weekend at Dover Motor Speedway. Carruth will drive the number 32 Chevrolet for Jordan Anderson Racing with sponsorship from Events DC. He previously competed in the 2023 Xfinity Series season finale at Phoenix in the number 17 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, where he finished 14th. With the Truck Series having an off weekend, it was a perfect opportunity for the Washington, D.C. native to race at his home track. Carruth said he's excited to return to the Xfinity Series and hopes to put on a good show for the DMV faithful, graphic courtesy of Jordan Anderson Racing. ARCA Menard Series regular Brendan Butterbean Queen will compete in next Friday night's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Queen will drive the number 07 Chevrolet Silverado for Spire Motorsports with sponsorship from Best Repair Company. Defending Cars late model stock car champion will be pulling double duty that night. He'll compete in the ARCA race with Pinnacle Racing Group early in the evening before hopping in the Spire truck. Butterbean said he's blessed for the opportunity to return to the Truck Series and having Best Repair Company sponsoring the race. You know, it's something he's looking forward to because they took a chance on him while he was working at the Port of Virginia while his racing future was uncertain. Graphic courtesy of Spire Motorsports. Trackhouse Racing hired Todd Meredith to become the team's new president of racing operations. Meredith previously joined Joe Gibbs Racing in 1992 and played a key role in helping turn that team into a championship-winning organization. From 2013 until 2016, he was JGR's chief operating officer and started working at Trackhouse on Monday, as the team's other competition leaders will report directly to him. Meredith said he feels at home in NASCAR and wanted to return to the sport in some weird form after having conversations with Justin Marks because he felt very excited about his vision for Trackhouse. Mark said Meredith's focus on culture, strategy, quick decision-making, and organization will be a massive shot in the arm for the whole team that have won 4 races, since the end of the month of May. Trackhouse is on quite a run right now. Graphic courtesy of Trackhouse Racing. Before we get over to pick a winner, I also have 2 other additional NASCAR headlines that did make tonight's show, but I'll give a brief description of what happened. In the Xfinity Series, our Motorsports and Chris Wright have parted ways. Chris Wright released a statement this afternoon saying he's enjoyed his time in the Xfinity Series and he's ready for what's next, as Kaz Gralla will be in that car this weekend at Dover. And also got some Catherine Leck news. She's also going to be racing in the Brickyard 400 with Live Fast Racing. So that's an additional race on her schedule. Catherine's been a veteran of the Indy 500, and now she's going to get to compete in the second big event at the track, the Brickyard 400. And another note on Catherine Legg's Cup Series schedule, she swapped out the Richmond race that she was planning to do, and she's going to be running Las Vegas later in the fall during the playoffs instead on the 1.5-mile track. And that's it with tonight's headlines. Now I'm going to turn it to Matt for everyone's favorite game, Pick a Winner.
Great to see more good Catherine Legg news. She had a great couple of weeks in that car. Time for Pick a Winner. No graphics to throw up on the screen for you tonight, but look, there it is. In fact, thank you, Kobe. And he has the lead with 50 points. That graphic is slightly skewed, I've just noticed, but I can tell you that he has 50, and he's the first person to breach that mark for the season. Matt B is on 49, and then it is myself on 45. So the graphic is slightly off, but the numbers are right if you shuffle them up one segment. So that is how Pick a Winner stands. You can get your selections in for this weekend's Pick a Winner using the hashtag Pick a Winner on the Grid Network TV's social media pages and in the comments box below, and of course do the same thing for our shows at the weekend. We have this weekend NASCAR at Dover, IndyCar at Toronto. You can get those picks in once the post goes up, but of course they are going to be picked on shows over the weekend. We're going to do tonight WRC at Estonia and MotoGP, which is back at Brno for the first time in a very, very long time. I'm very excited because it's a great track for bike racing. Fast, wide, up, down, up and down. It should really bring a good show, and there might be some weather in the air as well. But it's MotoGP. It's a sprint race. There can only be one answer. It is Mr. M. Marquez. Kobe? There he is.
Yeah, we have a special Marquez graphic. I seem like he's the only one who can win in MotoGP these days. So I guess I'm going with Mark again because it seems like, nobody else can really get to him unless he makes a mistake. And I'm assuming Josh is going to make it unanimous. Unanimous.
That one way too much fun with that. Yes, yeah, I'll make it. Although it's a newly resurfaced circuit. Carl Crutchlow won here, so anything can happen at this place. Valentino Rossi, of course, won his first ever race here. I think, as Simon Patterson put it, there's few racetracks in the world that belong on a calendar. Brno belongs on the MotoGP calendar. I am so excited it's back. It's one of my favorite venues to cover. And long may it stay. But this man, where is he? This guy. No, this guy.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, this guy here. He is going to be over 100 points clear by the end of this weekend. That's the scary thing. He could wrap the championship up before we actually go to the flyaway races. He could wrap it up, I believe, at San Marino. Yeah.
Mazzano. Yeah.
Where's that, by the way, Matt? Valet's country, where they hate him.
Just up the road from Valentino's house.
We've got a new "I beat your favorite driver" coming as well from him. But yeah, he could wrap it up as early as San Marino, and that's just to me.
And then he'll do a stupid dance that's currently popular on TikTok, like he did again at the weekend. So that's MotoGP talked about there at Brno. We also have WRC back this weekend. They are in Estonia, a very, very fast gravel rally, and it starts on Friday. So make sure you get your picks in before the start of the rally for it to count if it is correct. And the winner for mine, as he's won the last 3 years there, is going to be Kalle Rovanperä for Toyota. Kobe?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Kalle Rovanperä is probably the safe pick because I looked at the entry list before the night show. Did not see Sebastian Ogier, so I'll do the next best thing and I'll pick his teammate Rovanperä. Who you got, Josh?
For what? Sorry, I was tuning out there for a second.
WRC Estonia. You're picking Kalle Rovanperä, yes?
Yes, yeah. I'm going on with your guys' suggestion on that one as well. Sorry, I was zoned out for a second as well because I got an update from Bob Podcast. So I was just reading it that I was going to bring up before we get started Hots and Knots, but I'll let you finish the segment.
Yeah, okay, we'll skip back to that. Get your selections in for MotoGP at the Brno. WRC Estonia starts Friday. Make sure you get your pick in early for that. IndyCar Toronto for their only trip above the borderline to Canada for the season, and NASCAR at Dover, Delaware on Sunday afternoon, US time evening for me and Josh here in the UK. Use the hashtag pick a winner. Put your comments in the box below if you're watching this video, or if not, jump onto all of the Grid Network TV social media and get your selections in for the weekend. You can get yourself on the board. You can get on page one if you get more than one right, look, because Jackson Todd there at the bottom is on one. There is 95 points, I think, available, if my memory serves, from the spreadsheet. So you can still win it if you haven't got a point now. So the championship for Pick a Winner for 2025 still wide open. Let's go to Josh then. He's got more Bob Pockrass NASCAR FRM 2311 courts news.
Yes, this is the latest on Bob Pockrass that I've been buzzing on my phone over the last 5-10 minutes as well, that I've been trying to keep up while you and Kobe were doing the other bits. I'll read out the whole thing here, and this is the latest. NASCAR filing reiterates many arguments. It stresses that 2311 and FRM relinquished their charters when they didn't sign the 2025 agreement last year. It mentions MJ in the deposition, says he wants permanent charters. NASCAR says that shows this is contract, not antitrust dispute. The last page of the document states the balance of equities and public interest weigh against the plaintiff's requested relief. So reading through this quickly as well, it says, it is uncontested the plaintiffs decided not to sign the 2025 charter agreements, fully aware of the potential risks. Instead, they decided to use litigation to try and co-NASCAR into providing them better terms. When that did not work, they moved for an injunction, spun up a complaint about a release that was never an issue in negotiations, purposely downplayed their own success to hide it from the court, and manufactured evidence to convince the court to save them from bad business decision. It has dragged NASCAR into a baseless litigation that has harmed NASCAR's goodwill, prevented NASCAR from seeking partners that want to help to grow the sport, and has taken money that rightfully belongs to the teams that did sign the 2025 charter agreements. On the other hand, plaintiffs' purported harms remain speculative and likely manufactured once again, and are entirely self-inflicted. The losses to sponsorship and goodwill are the exact type of harm that courts routinely find compensable throughout monetary damages, because the loss of the goodwill is often calculable and compensable, and is mere pleading does not get injunction relief. So that's just the law bit at the bottom there. An interesting thing right at the bottom of the page, the last thing after all the little things, it comes through with the law references that you can go into the bibliography as well. The last bit says, plaintiffs do not need charters to race. They have confirmed multiple times they will compete without charters, as they have in the past. The open entries for Dover and Indianapolis are locked. Plaintiffs will qualify for those races and can continue to compete to earn playoff points while the court considers plaintiffs' motion for the preliminary injunction. And then there was a question asked about that today coming through. Another comment saying from Bob Podcast, NASCAR filing today also said it won't sell any of the charters, at least until this preliminary injunction requested is decided upon. What will be decided this week is a temporary restraining order prior to hearing/decision on preliminary injunction. We heard that earlier on in the program. Nathan on Twitter has asked a question. My biggest question here is, what happens to the Haas charters here if the injunction doesn't go through? Does Haas get them back and have to run 3 cars, or do they just have to resell them quickly? Do 2311 and FOM get their money refunded for those purchases? Bob Podcast has replied saying NASCAR will have to go to court with a process to unwind the sale of the SHR charters to 2311 and FRM. Exactly how that is done, brackets, if they go back to Haas, so that comment go back to NASCAR, comment, etc., close brackets, is still to be decided. So this is going to run and run and run, and it's not completely opened a big can of worms. But I think from reading that, especially the court document, is the fact is that NASCAR very much have gone on the fact is that, look, they're lying here. They've made stuff up and it's detrimental from our goodwill point of view. So NASCAR are not taking this line down. They really are angry, Matt.
Yeah, money, eh? What a thing. Yeah, more of that to come over the next 24, 48 hours. I'm guessing the guys will just talk about it over the weekend, and I would absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, say that Ben and Brandon will talk about it on Encore on Monday night as well. Let's do Hots and Knots then, from what was a fairly busy weekend with all manner of things going on in the motorsport world and outside of it. My first hot came from today, where I was driving up Motorway 1 this morning on my way back from London, and going the other way, 3 Mercedes-Benz AMG Petronas lorries on their way to Spa. I was like, look, there go the Mercedes team. Love living in the carbon fibre triangle. It's excellent.
I'm so jealous of you right now. Where were we over the weekend? I sort of...
Jackson Ring, Donington Park. Sonoma we talked about.
Okay, let's get into the business end of it. Oliver Rowland.
Yes.
Well done. Well done.
For Oliver Rowland. Congratulations to him and to Team Nissan.
I think he deserves it so much, doesn't he? What a season he's had. What a drive. 2 years ago, didn't even have a seat. Come through and he's now world champion. And my ultimate hot, my gold hot, As we talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago, there's only been a few times that I've got emotional and I've had tears in my eyes in the commentary box. Charles Leclerc winning at Spa was one as well. There's been a couple. I had another one in the commentary box, and you can see it on stream. You can see I get a bit emotional and welled up when Ollie's on the cool down lap and his little girl comes on the radio and goes, "Daddy, you are world champion! Yay, 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 yay!" Like, and just feeling that and hearing him, I teared up in the commentary box. I was properly emotional with it. It hit me right here. So yeah, I really thought, what a deserving champion, and what a lovely guy Ollie is.
And he'll get to celebrate it at the home round coming up, as he's already world champion in London, which is cool.
I like that. And I thought MotoGP was good. It was a bit predictable.
It was a bit crampy.
You might have... Yeah, what was it? 18 riders started the race, the fewest since the Italian Grand Prix in 2004. That was red flagged and restarted with 6 to go. And the fewest finishers since 2012, maybe 2010, one or the other.
I thought it was 22, Phillip Island, somewhere around there. I thought I heard.
Oh, I can't remember if we've had 10 or because it was only 10 that ended.
Yeah.
But it did actually force me and Megan at one point in the commentary box to check the rules to see who got points and not, because points go down to 15. So because Salvadori crashed, because he crashed originally and then he crashed again. And I was thinking, well, he's actually finished in 11th. Does he get points? So I was Googling to say, and unfortunately, no, you have to cross the line to get points. They changed the rule. Different in Formula One, because if you're inside the top 10 and you crash out, you still get the points. That rule got switched after America in 2005. So it's in MotoGP, you have to finish the race. So that was upsetting. But yeah, very crashy. And a lot of changes coming this weekend for Bruno as well. And I don't know. It's just, I feel like we're getting to the point now where MotoGP, we're halfway through the season and they've done the 22 races now. And now it's time to see injuries. We've done a full season. And now, the second half, it's going to happen again. They need to cut this down. We need to lose races again and take the boring ones off the schedule.
Yeah, I think you're right. We know Aragon's on its last legs, so we expect that probably not to come back. So that's one less race in Spain next year. Maverick Vinales out for this weekend because he damaged his shoulder in practice at the weekend. So Pol Espargaro is back to replace him. Frankie Morbidelli's crash in the sprint race was a scary one, out of second place as well. Bounced through the gravel and the chest protector came out and the levers were open and it looked fairly nasty. But thankfully, it seems like he's got away with it. It was both the races, actually all of the races, apart from the red flag that curtailed the end of Moto 2.
Yeah, that was bad.
Because the air fence was gone. We'll talk about that in a minute. Many things bad from the Moto 2 race, but the actual race was quite good. All the races were good. Hot also, it's finally happened in the other World Motorbike Championship. Top Rack finally to P1, sweeping Donington at the weekend. A colleague was there on Sunday. He said it was packed, lots and lots of people. It took him ages to get out, which is great. Top Rack finally back on top. He's not Bill Eggers led the championship since Australia at the end of February, and Top Rack reeled him in. Then he lost some points and went backwards again, and now he's come back again with obviously 6-7 wins on the spin again. Now he's on a good run. So flying and back to the top of the championship. And they're at the new Balaton Park track in a couple of weeks in Hungary, which nobody seems to like. So that's going to be interesting.
I actually said in commentary, I wonder if Top Rack's done this deliberately to make the season more interesting. Have a really bad Phillip Island and then just charge back through. And now all of a sudden after round, what was it, 7 or 8? Yeah. Hello, I'm back. One thing it has done, by the way, is you mentioned the good attendance at Donington. It's regenerated the idea that maybe Donington should have the British Grand Prix again for MotoGP. And I'm behind it. I'm all for it. I love Donington. It's a fantastic circuit, but I think it should. And I say this because Silverstone looked dead compared to what was it? We had 150,000. No, we had 50,000 there for the weekend of MotoGP. We had 500,000 for Formula One. Over 200,000 packed in on Sunday. Formula One was booming. MotoGP looked like it was sad. It doesn't
look like
work.
a club race in comparison.
Yeah.
There's a MotoGP problem here in the UK at the moment. It'd be great to have it go back to Donington, but they would need a new pit building, and that's not cheap.
They would,
I don't think Mr. Palmer's got that kind of money. Perhaps
Aircon in Combox 3 now.
To save Josh his blushes from a few weeks back.
It's haven't dried out. Can you see? Am I sweating? Yes, there. Look, there. Yes. It's not dried out.
Yeah, I've got some of that going on this evening as well. Any more hots?
Let's have a look. I enjoyed Sonoma. I did actually. I thought that was quite a good race.
Yeah, it got a higher number in the Jeff Black poll than I thought it was going to get. I enjoyed it.
No, actually, I think that's it. There's not really a lot that we could have talked about. I think we've covered quite a lot of it. Obviously, WEC and IMSA were on. I think that's more of a knot that you're going to come to in a second, actually.
Oh, actually, just remind me. Two quick hots from WEC and IMSA. From WEC, Iron Dame's coming fourth in GTD. They've had a troubled season, haven't they, with Michelle Gatter getting injured. So it's her first race back after her foot break at Le Mans in the practice session. So they came fourth. And also just off the podium in GTD at CTMP was Robert Wickens.
That was great to see, yeah.
Always a good news story when Robert Wickens is doing well in the Corvette.
You should mention Caddy as well. Cadillac getting the 1-2. I think that's an important one, yeah.
Porsche's nowhere, Ferrari nowhere in that race. It was a all privateer podium in the hypercar class. I
don't like the BOP balance of power. I think that's the thing. It kind of makes it a bit hollow to me.
Yeah,
but it was a good race.
Coach next for WEC next month.
I'm looking forward to that, and I hope we get to cover that actually. The Lone Star State Le Mans, although wrong name. Just stop putting Le Mans in front of everything. I don't even like European Le Mans doing it. It's like, it's right, Knots.
Knots. Go on. Go. Okay, I'll go first. Moto2, Diego Moreira, Brazilian rider. Much talked about pre the weekend that he might be going to MotoGP. He's doing really well. He qualified poorly because it rained on Saturday, as it did for the sprint race. If anyone watched MotoGP, you would have seen it was wet. Moto2 qualifying was not on before it. He qualified down the field. The race was dry on Sunday. He was coming through. He had a tangle with Jake Dixon. He went off the racetrack and then folded his mirrors in, put his blinkers on, and rode back onto the racetrack with gay abandon, and was smashed into by David Alonso, who had absolutely nowhere to go.
Really annoyed me.
He's got a pit lane start for Brno this weekend. He shouldn't even be there. He should be sat at home.
It was stupid. It was dangerous. And I said in the commentary, I was praising him, how good a move he was doing, how good a season he was having. And there it is, the stupid maneuver. I hated it. It was so dangerous. And there was a lot of wrong in Moto 2, as you said. The race should have been red flagged about 3 times. And it just wasn't. And then finally, it was the air fence. Yeah.
Yeah, when Albert Arenas' bike vaulted itself into the air fence at turn 1. So
that was so violent.
Scary. And it came back out faster than it went in.
Yeah, I was really worried about that. And turn 1 seemed to be a go point for all of the bikes this weekend across all categories.
A lot in the MotoGP race, weren't there, as well?
Yeah. Apparently there was something like there was a dip and there was still water in the dip. So in the braking zone, the driver was hitting the little crack in it, and it was just bringing them down.
All right. So a weeper of them.
Yeah, something like that.
It may be.
Makes sense because even Mark had a moment at one point in the race that was spotted.
Yeah, he did.
And he just got it through. Not IndyCar. I'm sorry, we've got to mention it. You cannot say, "Oh, we did better than Xfinity. We were head to head." You also head to head with the Cup. How did that go? Yeah, and it is like, I guarantee you probably got more views on the tennis than the
Oh, absolutely. The
Yeah,
Wimbledon final on Sunday on ESPN was massive, their numbers.
yeah.
Almost 3 million.
So, exactly, there you go. It was stupid. Absolutely stupid, because when you sell just 6,000 tickets for your grandstand, you know you've got a problem. I think this year more than ever, IndyCar is now publicly in trouble. Like, we've been able to hide it the last couple of years through NBC and all that lot, and but now I think because Fox have brought more eyes on it, everything's getting flagged up. So they're trying to show it in a good light, but all the negatives are coming up, and we can see it just isn't working. We're in a lot of trouble. My chair doesn't show up. It looks like I'm just floating my arm. I'm leaning on my chair. IndyCar's in trouble.
Yeah.
Big trouble. And I don't know how to save it. I really don't. Because it's a mess.
I have, much like I did last season, I've switched off from IndyCar. I have. Now we've got Freedom 500. I've got Road America is my next race to watch from IndyCar. So what's that? 4 races ago. I can't get it. One of my favourite drivers is in. 2 of my favourite drivers are in that championship. Of all the series I watch, I can't get excited for it.
Now, Kobe's just sent a link into the chat saying, watching the. This is from Indy Oreo, from John, Oreo Vince as well, who's on Twitter. He's put, watching the Iowa races on DVR, in year 30 post the 1996 split, IndyCar is right back to those early RLL days of near zero attendance, devaluing the sport's overall racing heritage. I don't have the answers, but it sure is sad to see, especially given hope for the Penske era. He's gone on to say, the salesmanship has ramped back up to the NBC levels. Everyone mentioning the tire fuel supplier by name at every opportunity. Is this truly providing value? Question mark. The sport as a whole needs the kind of investment and attention that Roger Penske has devoted to IMS and the Indy 500. This is a lesson I thought he learned in 1978 when he formed CART for this very reason. In F1, a McLaren is a McLaren. In IndyCar, it's just another Dallara. There hasn't been a Penske car since 1999. A brackets Prema has never existed as a car. Use IndyCar terminology. Good point. Do we get back to them?
It hasn't ever existed as a car either, or a Williams. So I get his argument. And hello to Matthew Owens, who I'm sure we'll catch up with this because I know he's working tonight while we do the show. And he has suggested in our chat this week that why can't IndyCar be somewhere tonight or tomorrow? There's nothing on in the American sports land this week. We're out of Wimbledon. We've got the golf coming up this weekend in the British Open. Why can't we have some IndyCar races midweek where it won't clash? It's not going against anything. Hockey's off, basketball's off, football's off. It's just baseball. This would be a grand time to get it out of the weekend slot and against clashing NASCAR races. Why can't we have Iowa? Could have been a Wednesday, Thursday. I know that would have clashed with the show. Granted, it would be bad for us.
But I wouldn't. It would have been a good pre-show.
Yeah, well, true. And then it gets the eyes on. They need to do something.
Okay. I think Christopher DeHard is listening to us because he's just put on Twitter, on Sunday night at dinner, I did some research asking a dozen or so people about race promotion. And brackets in a quote here, only one person said they saw something and it was on one post on Facebook about the race. Everyone else had either no idea the race was this weekend or forgot about it. And that's at Iowa. He was at dinner in Iowa and they didn't know about the race.
We had the whole huge Hy-Vee input, haven't we, at that race over the last handful of years with the concerts and everything else going on. This year, they've not sponsored the race, and look at the attendance and look at the promotion. Absolutely zero. So, yeah, that was, they were building that up over the last couple of years. That was IndyCar's short track, great event, etc., and just it has absolutely bombed this year. And it almost got swept away by a tornado on Friday. Which we can laugh about, but scary at the time.
Yeah, just reading. Nobody knows. Nobody in Iowa knew that the race was going on. There's been no promotion.
They had nothing on their on the track's social media, nothing at all. But they are promoting the NASCAR weekend, which is coming up in 3 weeks' time, as you mentioned earlier, is coming up. So
yeah, this is mad because at the start of the year, everybody was talking about IndyCar.
You know why?
Why?
The money was being poured into the IndyCar pot, and now that the 500's gone, they've switched it back the other way.
Yeah. It's like, oh, quick, we must get ready for our NASCAR season to start in February. Got to get all the money ready for that.
What are we? 5-6 weeks away from NFL?
Yeah,
season?
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Which is why the IndyCar season finishes at the end of August, which boggles the mind. But big trouble.
It's heartbreaking, isn't it? It is heartbreaking.
Yeah. I've watched since the last race of the 2025 season that I saw, which would have been whatever
Indy,
was before
probably.
Road America. What was before Road America on the schedule? I can't remember.
Was it Mid-Ohio?
No, that was after.
No, that came after.
I've still got that to watch. Whatever was before Road America. Nashville? No, that's the finale. Detroit, maybe. Whatever it was. But whatever the race was before Road America.
Detroit, I think.
I have watched a 2012 IndyCar race since then.
Really?
Yeah. I've watched the race from 2012. And I've got 4 of this year's still to watch. Just I'm not really that interested anymore. It also doesn't help the fact that Alex Palou is Alex Palou and doing Alex Palou things, which doesn't help either when we've got someone dominating.
We had Detroit and then Gateway, then Road America.
Gateway, that was the last one I watched, which was a decent race.
Gateway was decent, yeah.
But yeah, I've watched a race from 2012 since I've watched the last IndyCar race I've seen from this year.
2012 was better. By any chance, was that with the DW12?
Yeah, no, strangely, it was. And it was in Brazil.
Really?
It was in that Formula E. It was in that Formula E track in Brazil at Sao Paulo.
Oh, really? Was it there? Oh, my gosh, yeah. Strange.
Will Power victory. Because he won all the time there.
Would a new car help?
Well, we've got it coming, but not coming fast enough, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
So basically the question is IndyCar going to survive for the new car to arrive?
Arrive to survive?
Yeah.
Coming to Netflix near you, a new IndyCar documentary.
would it be shocking if we just ended up with just the 500 every year? That would be mind-blowing. Yeah.
And the Long Beach Grand Prix is a standalone race.
Yeah. Like we run like 6 races a year. Do you know, this happened before. Anyone for A1 GP? It's happening again. Oh dear. I'm all out of knots.
Yeah, me too. Let's take it home.
Yeah. With a bit of luck, SVG should be 6 Cup wins already. Well, he's already had 6 wins this year because of the Xfinities as well.
Yeah.
Is he 5 or 6 now? 5. Zilic beat him.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he got beaten by Zilic on Saturday.
How lucky was Zilic as well? That was a great race. Okay, so take a look at our upcoming schedule as well. Stay tuned for Grid Live pre-race. That's going to be our standalone shows to preview NASCAR at Dover and IndyCar at Toronto. Sunday, our Grid Live wrap-up is 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Dover. Monday or Tuesday night, Grid Encore, 7 p.m. Eastern, recapping the Xfinity and ARCA races at the Monster Mile as well. Please do continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for helping us reach 1,600 subscribers. And now we're inching closer to our next milestone of 2,000 subscribers. You can hit the bell icon to get notifications so you'll always know when we go on the air. And you can follow all of our social media platforms and visit gridnetworktv.com. You can take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. You can join Colin, Mark, Michelle, Robin, David, and Matthew who invest each month in the Grid Network. And we encourage you to join these fine folks to help us keep us on the air. And once we hit $500 per month, we can afford to send our team to the track more often and continue growing our media outlet. Link to all of this is in the video description below. And if you want to make a one-time donation, you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board, and invest as much as you want, and consider buying a specific on-air personality a cup of coffee, and they will thank you on the air as well. Just quickly about that, I just realised that we've got Dover and Toronto on this weekend as well. Has anybody got a nice pillow? Might need it for the commentary box this weekend, just so I can nap. That's good. No, completely gone over. It'd be probably be snooze fest. Lovely.
No, I think Dover should be good. So I'm going to go positive on that one.
To quote a famous NASCAR driver's tweet, did you do a road course? Okay, for Kobe Lambert and Matt White for the Green Endurance Performance Index, I'm Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.